Hello, this is the Wild West Outlaws logic grid puzzle from Brainzilla.com. Bandits preyed on the Wild West before they were captured and bounties were collected. Only one of them escaped and fled without being caught in the USA. Can you figure out who was him? So let's give this puzzle a go. This is a logic grid puzzle. What we need to do is fill in these check marks to figure out the combinations between different bandits in different counties who lived in different counties, were captured in different states and had a reward, a different reward. And when we connect them all up, so we have this kind of a table where each bandit lived in a different county, county was captured in different state, and so forth. So we need to find these check marks, and each of these cells or squares will contain a permutation of 4 check marks. So every row and every column will have 1 check mark. All right, so let me undo this. I'll start going from the bottom up because I think the later clues are a little bit easier to start from. So let's see. Butch Cassidy didn't go to Texas. We have Butch Cassidy here, Texas here. So they didn't go to Texas. The bandit which lives in Cochise, how do you pronounce it? Cochise, maybe? Cochise, had higher bounty than the bandits from Colfax. So Cochise here had a higher bounty than bandits from Colfax. So I don't know which, but I know that it's going to be either one of these 3 combinations. So these are not possible. 2 of the bandits have been captured in New Mexico and Arizona. The 3rd captured one was from Colfax. 2 of the bandits were captured in New Mexico and Arizona. The 3rd captured one was from Colfax. Oh, I see. So the one who is from Colfax won't be from Arizona or New Mexico. So we get this and this. Okay, and I think that's all the information there is to this clue, so I can strike this through. 8. Billy or Johnny lived in Lincoln. Billy the Kid or Johnny Ringo lived in Lincoln. So either one of these. So I can mark the negation. These 2 people wouldn't have lived in Lincoln then. Okay. Billy the Kid was captured while he was in Bolivia or in New Mexico. So one of these, so these 2 are out of the question then. Cool. Okay. And then clue number 6. A total of $6,050 have been paid. One of the bandits fled without being captured. So there's the reward 6,250. So that's this plus this plus this. So wait, this one hasn't been paid. One of the bandits fled. Oh, they fled without being caught in the USA. One of the bandits fled without being captured in the USA. Captured in Arizona, Bolivia, and New Mexico. Oh, I see. Okay, Bolivia is not in the USA. So that means... Wait, that means that we get a check mark here. Yeah. Yeah, that's gotta be it. Okay. The county of Lincoln issued a reward of 500 or 5,000 against its bandit. County of Lincoln issued 500 or 5,000 against its bandit. So these are not possible. Cochise County didn't issue a bounty of 500. Okay, so this is not possible. All right. Johnny Ringo was captured in Arizona, or his bounty was 500. I'm going to take this as a statement that Johnny Ringo was either captured in Arizona or his bounty was 500, because I think that's what this site really does. So I'm going to take this to say that the person in Arizona did not have a bounty of 500. The reward against Allison, Clay Allison, was immediately lower than reward on Cassidy's head. So the rewards here, Clay Allison had a immediately lower. I guess that means like the next reward bracket down. So that would mean that we would have this connect here, or this connect here, or this connect here. So this means that these cannot be possible. Exactly one of the bandits has the same initial in the place where he ended his days, and it's in its forename or surname. One of the bandits has the same initial place where he ended his days. So bandit's initials here, ended his days captured in the forename or surname. So that would be Billy the Kid in Bolivia. This one, Butch Cassidy in Bolivia. Clay Allison in Arizona. So this one, and Johnny Ringo. Oh, there's no connection there. So exactly one of these is true. But actually, I know immediately that this is not possible. We cannot have a check mark here, because if I had a check mark here, then that would mean that this couldn't happen and this couldn't happen. So then I couldn't have any of these, but it says exactly one. So I know this is not possible. Exactly one of the bandits has the same initial in the county where he lived and its forename or surname. So county where they lived and the name. So that would be Clay Allison, Apache. Cochise, Butch Cassidy and Clay Allison. Colfax the same. And Lincoln. Nothing in Lincoln. So we know that exactly one of these 5 is true. So what does that mean? I think it means, well, I can say that this one cannot be possible, because then it would exclude out these and there wouldn't be anything possible for this row. So I can say that this is out of the question. Also, if I had a check mark here, that would take this out of the question. And it would also take this out of the question, because otherwise both of these bandits would have the first condition match. So this one is not possible. And likewise, this one isn't possible, because otherwise we would have to have this as well, and that would also match this condition 1. So I know that Clay Allison must be the one of these two. And that's all the information I can actually derive from this. Okay, I know that because 3,500 was paid in Bolivia, and Clay Allison isn't from Bolivia, so they cannot have 3,500. And the reward against Allison was immediately lower than the reward on Cassidy's head. So there were these constraints. So this means that this constraint also constrains this one. Oh, and here, of course, I now have one cell that I completed, which I just didn't notice before. So Butch Cassidy lived in Apache County, so they couldn't have been captured in Texas. They couldn't have a bounty of 500 or 5,000. If I look back at this second constraint, which says that this one, and this one can have exactly 1. So if I had a check mark here, that would mean that these cells would be constrained, and by this constraint second, or this second clue, it would also mean that I couldn't have a cell here or here anymore. Which means that I would have both the first and second row would have to have check marks here, which would be a contradiction. So I cannot have a check mark here at all. And now that means that I cannot have a check mark here either, because if I had a check mark here, it would take these away. But I had to have one of these by clue 2. So I can also exclude that this is not possible. And that basically completes the second clue, because it says that exactly one of these will have a check mark, and that condition is already satisfied by this this column rule. So I can take that away. That leaves me only these 3 clues. So if I look at number 4 again, Johnny Ringo was captured in Arizona, or bounty was 500. I cannot do much with that. But I see that there's these 2 clues which both relate to the reward. So maybe there is some constraint there that will come into play. So let's see. The reward against Allison was immediately lower than reward on Cassidy's head. So we had this and this, or this and this. So because I know that Butch Cassidy lived in the Apache County, I know that, let's see, if I say this is 1, then by transitivity, these are also 1. So these ones come in here, like this. So reward against Allison, who lives either in Cochise or Colfax, is immediately lower than the reward in Apache County. So this means that either, let me say, either this is true and one of these is true, or this is true and this is true. Or let me put this in green color. And what was the third clue? The bandit which lived in Kochais had a higher bounty than the bandit from Colfax. So this column must have a bigger value than, so now a check mark lower than this column. Okay, well, if I look at these two possibilities, if I think about like what would happen if this green possibility was true, I would have a check mark here and a check mark here. Then that would mean that I would have a check mark here, but then I don't have a place to put the fourth check mark. So that leads to a contradiction. So I know that this green possibility isn't viable. So I know that it must be this case. So basically that tells me that Butch Cassidy in Apache County was paid, the reward was $3,500. And 3,500. So they must be, Butch Cassidy must be the one who fled to Bolivia. Okay, so we solved. Only one of them escaped and fled without being caught in the USA. So that was Butch Cassidy. Okay. So that question solved. All right, but then I can see here this row only has one possibility, and this one and this one. So that solves this whole square. And here I can see that Clay Allison is in Texas. Clay wasn't paid 5,000, or there was a bounty of 5,000, so Texas didn't have a bounty of 5,000. And the clue 3 said that reward against Allison was immediately lower than the reward on Cassidy's head. So then it must be this one. So Clay Allison's reward was this. And Clay Allison is one of these. So it's gonna go one of these two. But Texas was 750, so this one goes here. And 500 was then in New Mexico. And that was Billy the Kid. So Billy the Kid cannot be here because 500 wasn't paid into this county. And now this clue, the bandit which lives in Cochise had a higher bounty than the bandit from Colfax. This is actually satisfied, like all the possibilities here are gonna be true. Oh, and I see I have this Arizona 5,000, this cell is now satisfied. So Arizona was 5,000, so that goes here, and then New Mexico was 500. So Apache was Butch Cassidy, Apache, Bolivia. Those go together. And here 750. Oh, this one is Colfax, was in Texas, so that goes here, and then it goes here and here. Okay, and now we have everything solved. Let me just fill in these cells. So Colfax 750, and then these ones, and Arizona, Johnny Ringo, like this. So let's see if we are right. Okay, that was the right solution. So that was the Wild West Outlaws logic grid puzzle, Brainzilla. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Bye.